As we start part 23, I've just cleaned the wind trunk that goes under the bellows. This supplies the air to the two pedal chests. There's two equal ones either side. This side is face down onto the floor. So if I turn it round the other way, I'm going to put this in even though we don't connect it, because we start putting case parts in. So if I just move the camera down, you will see at the bottom we've got the outlets, and we've got another two at the top if I move the camera that far up. So they are the top side, and this is the underside, so it goes straight onto the floor. So it's got writing on it, and to put writing on it you would have to be the person installing it. Now I can't read that. W. Sungam E. Cleaned and overhauled and repalleted. Well, this organ, May the 1st, 1906. May the 1st to the 20th. Did it in 19 days, did they? So to do that work, to actually take that wind trunk out, so let's look at our, so this history starts 1917. So there you are. Whether or not we can get any more information from the previous building. So we've had see we've got 1919. We know the 1919 date because it's inside something or other, wasn't it? Was it the faceboard for the Swell? We've got the 1865 date from the inside of the soundboard. We've got a clean and overhaul and repalleting in 1906. I'm going to see if I can take a still of that and we'll carry on with the video. Right, I've just dug the great rollerboard out of storage. So I think there's 17 I've counted on this one. So it's not full like the Swell one with its 56. So this won't take as much overhauling. Got to unscrew all these and then paint them all. Check that the bushings are okay. So we've got the Swell, no we haven't got the great rollerboard here, it's just 17 notes on this rollerboard. So I've taken off all the rollers for painting, and we've taken all the studs out as necessary, and that has been cleaned up to within an inch of its life because it was absolutely filthy, and some wally had managed to paint the rollers with them in position so the paint had dripped onto the backboard. So I've gone to a lot of trouble to use thinners and stuff to get rid of the paint. So that, the trouble is, you see, in the future somebody will overhaul this organ and they'll think it's me who's done the paint bad job. So you've got to cover your tracks. I don't know adding that to my gravestone, do I? So here we are with the rollerboard now, with all the holes where we've taken the rollers off filled in with wood. So they're bits of wood which are glued in because the screws, a lot of them were just flopping about. So best thing to do, instead of putting bigger screws in, we may as well put the same ones back, but with a proper grip. So that's the next thing, put the roller studs back in. So over the last few days there's quite a lot taken place, but none of it shows. It's things like regulation, so that each note is the same volume as the other. It's a matter of opening or closing the holes up in the toe of the pipe. It's very time consuming, but it's not really something I can demonstrate at this stage. I think when we do the grate, I will show a bit of how the regulation is done. I'm just finishing this rollerboard off. We just got to the stage where it's all been taken apart, rebushed where necessary, and I've had to remake some of these roller studs. And I just put it all together. I thought, oh great, we'll get it fitted, get the great soundboard connected up. And then we had another roller stud fail, so I've had to make another one. And it's just lurking. Let's just zoom in on it. It's just lurking there. Can you see that piece of brass? So we'll get that installed right now. So what I'm hoping, if I'm not too much in the camera, so that's already been bushed, if that's in picture. And I've put a drill bit through as a kind of keeper so that it dried with the right kind of hole. So, of course that's made from scratch, so let's hope. It'd be nice if the holes all lined up. It would also help if it wasn't too tight, but of course it is. So plan B, we'll just have to open up the bushing a bit. So I've just waggled my drill bit around to see whether that helps. Yeah, that's fine. It's quite possible that's going to line out. We don't want it too tight. So one of the screws that came out is the right kind of length, the other one's too short. So we'll have to move over to the new screws that I bought. Remember I told you these cost me a fortune. I don't know whether I did tell you they cost me a fortune. About £6 for 25. And they're advertised as steel, but of course they turn out to be brass, which is frustrating because it's supposed to be steel. So put a bit of grease on that. In fact, I tell you what, I'll just go and clean it up. So wherever I put the grease, it's up on the great soundboard. Every screw needs to be greased. Okay, so that's now, oops, it's the camera with my fat body. That's it, we're in, we're done. So we're going to install that now in the grate. What I will show you also, when I showed you I played a few notes on the organ before, and, oops, I just moved it. When I played a few notes on the organ before, we've got the 3 ranks of pipes in. We've got the board on at the back, which is 16-foot pitch, so it's not really something you can play on its own without a bit of octave jumping, but we've got the 4-foot and the 8-foot drawn at the moment. The pipes, don't know whether, we'll just zoom out enough to show you this. No, I can't. The bigger pipes on the 8-foot, which is the centre rank, they do need tuning slides. They're supposed to be slot tuned or tab tuned, but because we are lowering the pitch slightly, we hoped it was going to be A equals 444, but we can't really go lower than A equals 446. So it's a little bit higher than some instruments, but not as high as it once was. so we need some tuning slides to effectively make the pipes longer, and so we've got 9 pipes in the tenor octave, the 8 foot, which won't tune because of that. So tuning slides are on order, and no doubt they'll be with us next week. So well, I'm going to demonstrate this to you. I've got a hymn book plonked here, and I will just show you where we are. Now, some of the tuning is out because we've not retuned it since regulation. It was meticulously tuned where possible, apart from those 9 notes I mentioned, and there's 2 top notes on the gems horn, where we've got the pipes out because again they're waiting for bigger tuning slides. But it was meticulously tuned. Then we've done the regulation. Of course, you're going to be knocking the tuning for 6 on some notes. So do excuse the tuning, but I do want to just show you where we've got. And I've got a hymn book shoved on the keyboard there. We've got one small whimper on middle C of all notes. So it's either going to hopefully bed in, or we'll just have to pop the faceboard off and probably strengthen the spring up. If all else fails, of course, we can relieve the pressure by puncturing the calico at the back of the soundboard, but I'd rather not do that on any notes. So we've got the 2 stops drawn are the 8 foot violin diapason, or I think it's called guiding principle on this organ, and the gems horn 4. So you've got the 8 foot and the 4 foot. So let's just see what's in this hymn book. That's the 1950s BBC hymn book. There's also a copy handy here. So as you can see, there are some notes in the tenor which are slightly out of tune. There's one. Just not quite there. Some of those have had no regulation work, and so it's affected the tuning. There we are, we're getting there. But of course I mustn't waste time playing the organ, though playing middle C a few hundred times might help that note bed in and not whimper. We'll start this final part of this before I publish it. We've actually got, I just hope we've got this in the kind of picture. We've actually got one note now in on the grate. So I don't know whether you can see that moving. That actually took about an hour and a half to do. And it goes through the coupler mechanism. So you've got the sticker goes through the Swell keyboard. I think I'll show that from the front. Through the new backfall we had to make. And as that pulls down, so as that pushes up, that pulls down and it goes to the rollerboard. And I'll just take the camera off the tripod so we can look inside. So with the work light we can see that all these are now coupled up to the rollerboard. If I move around to that end, I'll just shine the light towards that end and we can see again the ones on the roller are all connected up to the soundboard. And then we have these backfalls. Some of those have been retained on the rollerboard throughout its overhaul, and some of them I had to take out, so we had to could do the bushings, but they're not in yet because it isn't obvious where they go. So I've got to start from this end, and this is the first tracker. This is the one that is connected to something. Okay, we go to the front. So here at the front we've got touch on that one note, and hopefully if we just zoom in a little bit you'll see when I press the note, the sticker is the piece of wood going vertically upwards, and the backfall, and you'll see there's a wedge of wood not touching the other backfall, which is the coupler for the Swell to grate, and that's taken quite some adjusting because it was hard on. In other words, it was always on and the coupler is off. So I'm just going to play something because we spent another 90 minutes tuning the organ meticulously last night after regulation. And there's 9 notes in the tenor octave. So on an organ, let's just zoom out. The 5 octaves: bass, tenor, middle, treble, and top. And so, as you know, this is 56 notes. Some organs are 54 notes, some organs are 58 notes, and post 1914 some organs are 61 note, which is the current standard. So in the tenor octave we've got 9 pipes of the 8 foot where the slides are too short. They haven't got slides because they're slot tuned. Because we've lowered the pitch, the pipes are a little bit too short, and so they're out of tune. You have to bear that in mind. It's not far out, it's not enough to make it awful, but they are out of tune, whereas everything else we've meticulously tuned. So I can't play any posh organ pieces because obviously with no pedal board yet. Trying to get this in, we can put all the pedal works in later, which is the exact contrast to the Konica we've got in the other room, where I had to finish the pedal board and the chest and all the trackers, because it's tracker action pedal, before we could even put the bellows in. So there you go, different organs, different assembly. So I'll just put the this back on its tripod properly, and I'll just play another hymn. The only whimper on the organ is middle C. So we're going to hope that clears itself. Otherwise we'll have the faceboard off one final time before giving in and having to puncture the calico. to Americans wouldn't be a tune they would know. We're putting these trackers in bit by bit. They're a bit of a pain, so we'll do so many a day. And we're going to put the oboe in the swell, and we're going to paint up the shutters, and we will put the swell to bed. That's going to be it. So I may as well start putting the swell pedal equipment in. So we're going to attack it at several sides, and once that's done, get the casework up to this kind of height. Get the casework up to that height, and then we can start putting the some pipes in the grate and see what needs doing there. So there you go. Thanks for watching this part. This is a regular report. We can't now do it every week because things just don't show, and it would look like we haven't done anything because you can't see. With there being 56 of everything, it's very, very time consuming. So thanks for watching.